But welcome to EdTech Tuesdays with A. Tim's and Friend, making learning interactive with EdPuzzle. So it's not too late to invite a friend to let them know, hey, it's not too late to join. We will be on for an hour, and I'm going to get out your hair as soon as possible. Once again, my name is Pernell Allen. I'm the Alabama Technology and Motion Specialist located at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, UAB. Go Blazers. That's my contact information right there if you need to get in contact with me. Those other universities, what you see to the left, are where other ATEM specialists are located, as well as the regional in-service centers across the state. Region 5 serves the following LEAs. That's Alabama Aerospace, Bessemer, Birmingham, Empower Community, Freedom Academy, Fairfield, I-3 Academy, Jefferson County, Leeds, Legacy Prep, Magic City Acceptance Academy, Midfield, Tarrant, and Trustfield City Schools. Today, again, making learning interactive with EdPuzzle, and you can see some of the things that we have coming forth. Please check those out, and hopefully I'll see you on those as well. This is the fall list, and here is the summer list. But if you're here, I'm sure you have access to the booklet. If not, I will email that out to you along with the recording and any resources that Hannah shares with us today. If you haven't had an opportunity to listen to Tim Talks, please do. That's a podcast hosted by my colleague, Angela Clark, and myself, where we go around to different schools, initiatives, and things like that, and bring you ideas of how different state initiatives can be helpful in your school, your region, or your district. The latest episodes include episode 15 and 16, where I must need to update that because we just had an episode to release today, and that was from the Office of School Improvement. So if you have not had an opportunity, please check it out. You can listen to it on Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts. And at this time, I will stop sharing and allow Hannah Haskin to bring you some information about making learning interactive with EdPuzzle. Hannah?
All right, thanks for that introduction for now. I am going to go ahead and share my screen, and we will jump right in. So I'm going to be doing my best to moderate the chat as we go on, but if there are questions, I'll make sure that we have some time at the end. And if you are someone who likes to follow along with the slide deck, in the chat, I just dropped the link to today's slides. Feel free to click onto those and follow along. I've tucked some resources in here as well. So if you want to grab that and follow along, feel free. Otherwise, I'm going to share everything that I share in this with Pernell so that you have it available afterwards. I'm going to be following along with this deck and also clicking around EdPuzzle so that you have some hands-on experience with the tool. So to jump in today, we're going to be chatting a bit about making learning interactive. The major things that we are going to go over is some basic things like how to find a lesson, how to edit a lesson, and then we're going to be talking about some tips and tricks for EdPuzzle for some of my more advanced EdPuzzlers in the room about using Teacher Assist, which is EdPuzzle's new AI tool, using live mode, and student projects, along with some other hidden gems. So without further ado, thank you for all of you guys who are introducing yourselves in the chat. It is great to see where you are from, who you are, who we have in here. I would like for you just to take a second and pop a number in the chat. Tell me, how familiar are you with EdPuzzle? Are you a 1 saying, I don't know what EdPuzzle is. I'm excited to learn. Hannah, tell me all the things. Or are you a 4? You are ready to jump in. Maybe if I need a co-host one day, I should give you a call. Just let me know where you are on a level from 1 to 4. And it looks like we are all over the place, which is wonderful. We'll have something for everyone today. While you guys are sharing a bit about yourself and your familiarity with EdPuzzle, like Pernell said, my name is Hannah Haskin. I am a former educator. I worked in North Carolina in an elementary school and taught 3rd grade for most of my career, and then ended up teaching 5th grade and being a curriculum coach at my school. So I loved EdPuzzle in the classroom, used it as a coach, used it as a teacher, and made my way here. So I have seen EdPuzzle from the beginning years in the classroom to now on the other side, and love seeing my elementary folks in the room. It's definitely where most of my experience is. All right, so for those of us in here who are a 1 saying, what is EdPuzzle? Don't know. I like to make learning interactive, so I signed up for this session and I'm excited to hear what EdPuzzle is. In this slide deck, I'm going to drop this link one more time for those of you who are just joining and need access to this. At the bottom of this deck, you will notice that there is an appendix here. What I have included at the very, very bottom are some getting started slides. We're going to go through setting up our accounts today and getting started together. But if I get to a point where you're like, ooh, I need to go back to those getting started slides, I need some very basic things to walk me through. Hannah's talking about live mode and a tips and trick. I need to go back. Feel free to scroll on down to these appendix slides at the bottom and go through any of that at the pace you need, or reference it later for some review. So without further ado, let's jump in. This is where I'm going to ask us to get a bit interactive now. I'm going to give you a tour of the EdPuzzle platform and explore what is available in EdPuzzle. But before I give you that tour, let's go ahead and jump in together. So go ahead and open up your Chrome browser if you're in Zoom on the app and navigate to edpuzzle.com. If you already have an account, then you are just going to go ahead and sign in. If you have never logged into EdPuzzle before, I want you just to take a couple seconds and go ahead and make an account. You can single sign on to your account. Just make sure that you are using your school domain, your school email, whether that be a Microsoft or a Google single sign on, or go ahead and set up a password if you so choose. Once you log in, if you've never logged in before, you're going to be prompted to pick your school. So go ahead and find that school and add in your grade and content area. Adding in your grade and content area is going to tell EdPuzzle what you teach so that EdPuzzle can suggest some content that's applicable for you. If you have an EdPuzzle account and have moved grade levels or moved schools this year and need to do some editing, where you will find your profile is up in that top right. You'll either see the letter of your name, or if you have a beautiful email icon, you will see that picture. Once you click it and click your name, you'll be able to see your school. If you have moved schools this year and need to change it, you can change schools here. Just a couple of things to mention. When you change schools, you can't take your school data with you. So if you are changing schools and think, oh my goodness, Hannah, school started a month ago. I've already set up my classes in my new school and I need all this data with me. No worries. At the end, I will share my email address and I can do some little magic in the back end and I can move you and all of your data. But if you have not set up, or if you have accidentally clicked a school, then you don't need to take school data with you. You will always be able to take your content with you. That content is yours, but you can change schools there. If you just switch grade levels, feel free to change it here. Like for example, maybe I don't teach pre-K anymore. I teach 5th grade and I have added a specific subject. You can always change that in your profile, as well as add another subject or another grade if you teach all the things or say your special area. All right. Now I am back to the Discover tab. For those of you in the chat, just to reference a couple questions while we are jumping in, if you would prefer, muted is going to keep this room nice and quiet so that there's not feedback. But if you have a question or anything you need help with, feel free to raise your hand or jump at any other point. Okay. Now, to take a tour of the EdPuzzle platform, when you log in, you are likely looking at your Discover page, which is exactly what I am looking at now. On your Discover page is where you're going to find your content. You will notice that likely every time you log in, your Discover page is going to be a little bit different. Think of your Discover page as a For You page on your social media apps with, a fancy algorithm, or like your YouTube landing page. As content gets added, it's going to show up here. Within EdPuzzle, there are millions of lessons already added in here. So there's a lot of content to filter through. The easiest place to find content is going to be your Omni bar up top. Feel free to test this out and say, I'm looking for something like fraction division. And when you type that in, you'll see automatically that things are starting to be filtered. You have more filters up here, so you can look, for example, you want something that already contains questions. And I want it to be auto-grading, so I'm going to toggle to multiple choice questions. Maybe I want this to be really short, 5 minutes or less. I can toggle it there. So you have filters up at top that you can find videos in. Anytime you find a video, like let's say, for example, this fraction division tool. I love this video. Again, I taught 5th grade math at the end, and Math with Mr. J was my jam. He and I are good friends. And I want to save this into my content. When I click copy, this video is going to go ahead and store right into my content folder over on the side. As we are touring around today, just want to go ahead and give you a caveat that we have different levels of subscription. EdPuzzle is available totally free to use. You do have a 20 lesson storage limit though. So if you are totally new to EdPuzzle, your school doesn't have a plan, your district doesn't have a plan, just be cautious in copying or saving content, as it is going to use one of those 20 spots for you. If you have a pro subscription, if you have unlimited access, then feel free to build that library as we go. If you aren't sure if you are pro or not, if you think, lots of teachers at my school use it, maybe I have a pro subscription, you can always check that in your profile under plan. All right. So now that we are all logged in, just a reminder of some of those navigation things. Love the Math with Mr. J shout out in the chat. Yep, he is the jam. So great. Math teachers in the room, not sponsored, I promise. But if you need a YouTube channel to make some EdPuzzles from, love Math with Mr. J. All right, so on our Discover page, we've talked about how to filter and your content over here. The other button that is important is your Add Content button. You may notice on my picture, it is up at the right, but that Add Content button has navigated. So if you are an OG EdPuzzler and cannot find the blue button, no worries. It has just moved over to the left. Also, if you are an OG EdPuzzler, this button has some new options. When I click it now, it's going to have all of the traditional options here, like if I'm brand new and need to add a class, I can do so right here. If I need to upload a video or screen record, I can do that right here. But notice that there are also some new additions to EdPuzzle this year that we're going to walk through. You can use and create slides in EdPuzzle and quizzes. So EdPuzzle is now the full realm of interactive learning for your students. Again, video, I can upload directly. For example, if I was in the classroom during COVID, I likely have a handful of videos that I recorded back in the day. Those don't have to be re-recorded from EdPuzzle's Chrome extension. You can upload them right there and add questions. All right, jumping back in. So again, videos can be found on your Discover page, can be screen recorded. We'll talk a bit more about that in just a minute, or can be uploaded in that Add New button. Now, for those of us who are familiar with EdPuzzle or have used it in the past, some of those new features that I want to talk about. The first is quizzes. Quizzes is exactly what it sounds like. It is an interactive quiz feature for your students. There are a sampling of quizzes that are already available. You may have noticed a little new button on your left-hand sidebar that says quizzes. If you click that, you'll notice that there is a small library of ELA and social studies quizzes. This library will continue to grow. However, just as a launching point, EdPuzzle has created a handful of quizzes and shared them with all teachers here to see what they may look like. These are available to be assigned as is or to be edited. So to give you an idea of what a quiz looks like, I'm going to click into this one. I see on this quiz that it's going to be tagged with a subject and a grade level and have multiple choice questions in here. On the setup side, I'm going to click edit. But again, all of these can be made from scratch on that Add New button. I see that I can go ahead and select the correct answer and the incorrect answer so that they auto-grade for me. And when I'm setting up each question, notice that there is a time limit here. This time limit is not mandatory. This time limit is available to set for every individual question. If you want to practice fluency with your students or automaticity of knowledge and recall, you can set a time limit there. you also have an option to toggle points on and off. What this points is going to do is give you the option to gamify your quiz. So as your students are going through your quiz, instead of taking it just as a traditional quiz like an assessment, which you totally have the option to do, you can toggle off points. They will take it as a traditional assessment. When you toggle on points, they're going to get a different level of points based on how quickly they answered. Similar to if you use Kahoot in your classroom or quizzes or Blookit, anything like that, where students are answering faster, their screen is going to glitter as they get through it, and they're going to see that they earned X number of points for that question. Again, can be toggled on and off depending on how formal you want your quiz to be. Personally, as someone who, again, taught elementary school, I like the glitter and the point score. And when you go to assign this quiz, you will see, I'm going to exit out of my editing here. Got to save it first. Don't save. When I'm going to assign this quiz, you will see another option. I'm going to pick my class, going to assign it to my 3rd grade class to turn on and off a leaderboard. This leaderboard is going to be exactly what it sounds like, where you want this gamified. You want when students' screens glitter and they get their points, you want them to compete with each other in a little bit of a healthy, friendly competition. Now, the leaderboard is not going to show every single student in your class. They're not going to be able to scroll down all the way to the bottom and see that student that's really struggling. But what it is going to do is show your top handful, your top 5 or so students, so they can compete with each other and continue to go through. All right. Mr. Terry, about your pro subscription with your domain, let's chat after about your specific subscription. I'll share my email address and we can chat that way, or we can just hang out after and turn off the recording. Don't want to ignore your question, but we can chat in just a bit. So again, gamified, yep, you can turn on and off that time limit. Say, for example, it's something I really want my students to be thinking about. I don't want them to speed through it. I can turn that off. I can turn off my leaderboard, but both of those gamified features are available for you. All right. Going back to our home page, remember quizzes are available in some preview over on the left, or under Add New, you can click Quiz and make your own quiz in whatever subject or topic you so choose. And we have, again, that walkthrough on this slide deck for you to reference how to make it. Next exciting new feature is slides. Slides is also exactly what it sounds like. It's a way to make slides interactive within EdPuzzle. Now, slides is not going to have a pre-built set of decks, because slides is where you are going to be able to import any slides that you created. When you click Add New, you will see a place for slides over on the left here. Notice there's 2 options. I can import directly from my Google Drive, or I can upload a PDF. For my friends in here who love Canva, you love to make your slides real cutesy, right? Add all the fun things on it. You like the interactivities that Canva allows. You can download Canva slide decks as a PDF. For my PowerPoint friends in the room, PowerPoints can also be downloaded as PDFs and can be uploaded directly here. So to show you what it looks like, I'm going to try this. We're all going to hold our breath together because I'm on my demo account, and sometimes that's a bit glitchy with connecting to my actual Google Drive, but we're going to cross our fingers here. I'm just giving EdPuzzle access to use my Google Drive to look at my slide decks here, and I want to pull in this exact slide deck that we're going through together. And I'm going to turn this in to an interactive quiz. Bummer. Yep, sometimes it's funky in accessing on my demo, but what it would do is it's going to pull in access to my slide decks. We're going to try one more time, and then I can select which ones I want to pull in. So maybe I have a slide deck that's 80 slides. I don't want all 80 slides to be in EdPuzzle for my students. I want just a handful of them. I can go through and select the slides that I want to turn into that lesson, and they're going to look exactly like they do on this screen. I'll see the slides that are available, and I can add questions in between them. On those slides, I can have hyperlinks to other things. I can have images. I can have GIFs. And in between, I'm going to put in questions if I want to, so that instead of just having a static slide deck that I send to my students, I'm getting feedback on how they're doing, on how they're understanding things. So again, just to review those different types of interactivities in EdPuzzle, we now have video, like we always have had as our cornerstone, and have the ability to add in and gamify quizzes and add in and gamify slides. Slides can also have a leaderboard assigned to them. So as students go through and answer those questions, you can toggle on and off that points feature like we looked at. You can toggle on and off a time limit like we looked at, totally optional, and then can assign a leaderboard. Anything you are finding today that you're going through, if you are wanting to add things to your library again is going to build in that My Content tab over on the left. You can do that by selecting Edit or Copy. Copy is going to take it right as it is, make you an independent copy to put in your content. Edit is going to take you to our editing tool where you could add in questions, notes, interactivities, and personalize that lesson to make it your own. All right. Before I jump into some other hidden features, we've just spent a little bit of time going over the core of EdPuzzle. I want to pause and see if you have any questions about how to find or make a video, a quiz, or a slide. Then we're going to talk about screen recording. All right, we're going great. So we are going to jump in now to the EdPuzzle Chrome extension. The EdPuzzle Chrome extension has two different important capabilities that it enables. The first is screen recording. So the EdPuzzle Chrome extension is available on Chrome or on Firefox. The easiest way to find it is just to Google EdPuzzle Chrome extension or Firefox extension, and it's going to be the very first thing that pops up. So if you don't have this, and you have the ability to enable extensions on your school computer, I know we don't all, totally fine. You can go ahead and click Add to Chrome. I see a great question in the chat. Is it possible to upload a document to generate a quiz for you? Great question. At this time, there is not the ability to upload a full document. However, copy and paste is totally a function that is enabled. That's a couple extra steps, but if you're pulling from a document, you can totally paste into all of those text boxes and paste those right from. There's just not the ability to upload and generate the full quiz. However, in slides, if you have a PDF and wanted a deck, say, of slides with questions, you could upload it that way and have a deck of questions where each slide has a question. So similar, not exactly the same. Great question in the chat. All right. And hopefully that gave you a minute if you were enabling the Chrome extension to do that while I answered that question. So what that Chrome extension is going to look like is like any other Chrome extension. I have it right up here with the little EdPuzzle logo. So let's say that this Google Slides presentation that I am walking through is a great multiplication presentation that I've put together for my students. And I have the flu because back to school germs have caught me. Now, I want to record myself walking through this presentation for my students, or I want to make them a video of something else. I can click open that Chrome extension, and I have ability here to screen record, tab, desktop, or camera. For those of you on our free plan 2, this Chrome extension and this screen recording is totally free to use. You are, again, just a reminder, you have those 20 lessons, so make sure if you are recording something, if you are using this screen recorder, that it's something you want to use your 20 lessons for. And again, you have options down at the bottom to enable on your countdown or your recording time if you so choose. And with the desktop option, for all of my math teachers in the room, when you click Start Recording, it's going to open up access to either choose and start recording your whole desktop or record a whiteboard. So if you want to open up a whiteboard, you can see my office in the background here because I don't have a background set on there. I could click Share, and EdPuzzle is going to open up a whiteboard for me. So here I can draw on my screen with my pen. I'm going to pick which color I want, and I can draw all over here and record myself walking through something with my students. Now, for those of us in here that are thinking, ooh, drawing with a mouse sounds really difficult, because that's the first thing I said when our product team said this. I was like, How do I write out math equations with my mouse? You can always connect an external tool like a tablet or a document camera or anything else and use that and record yourself writing or record yourself using a pencil, or you can use your touch screen, any of that. So that is what the whiteboard feature is going to look like. When I click upload video, it's going to upload to my content and be ready to go. For those of us who are coming in a little bit late, it is absolutely not too late for you to go ahead and make an EdPuzzle login. All you need to do is go to edpuzzle.com and go ahead and sign up. And for those of us that are wanting to look through some pre-made quizzes, there are some samples specifically for ELA and social studies only, but over on your left-hand sidebar. All right. So that is the first capability of our screen recording. Exactly what it sounds like, screen recording. And I do have a link to the Chrome extension down at the bottom here. If you're using Firefox, no worries. You can also Google EdPuzzle extension. The Chrome one is definitely more popular though. All right. If you are a pro user, one of the features available is to download your screen recorder. So for those of us who are on pro, when you look at your content, it's going to take me a second for that one to populate into here. I have the option to triple click and download that video file. Otherwise, no worries. It's going to save right in EdPuzzle for you, and you can always share this preview link to any of your colleagues. And once they click it, they'll be able to watch your beautiful video of myself doodling on my screen. All right. Now, the other piece of that Chrome extension is YouTube capabilities. Now, I am sure those of us who have used YouTube in the classroom have picked a video, vetted a video, made sure it is totally appropriate, clicked play, and then fallen victim to an inappropriate ad. Has anyone had that happen to them? Because I know I have. Or played a video that you are sure was totally appropriate, and then there's this little clip in the middle that you're like, oh my goodness, I just showed my third graders that clip from Shrek that they're all going to go home and tell all of their parents about. That was me as a third grade teacher. The EdPuzzle Chrome extension was my lifesaver when I found it. So once I've downloaded that Chrome extension, what it's going to let me do is filter YouTube videos. So you see right now, I'm on just youtube.com. Nothing fancy, no fancy URL or website. And I'm going to look up an animal adaptations video that I want to use to teach my kids. All right, I found it. Now when I click it to play it,
Who is Rick?
there's an ad. Well, I don't really want to show my students an Adapted Minds ad in all of these suggested videos. You'll notice down at the bottom of this YouTube video, again, just on YouTube, because I have that Chrome extension, there's a button that says Edit with EdPuzzle. This is totally free. This is available to any users. When I click it, what it's going to do is take that video, pull it out of YouTube and into EdPuzzle. The ad is gone. The data tracking is gone. Cookies are gone. Suggested videos are gone. Comments are gone. It is literally just that video in EdPuzzle. And if there was something in the middle that I don't want my third graders to see, like that scene in Shrek, I can add a cut and I can chop out
hibernation.
the middle of it and edit in any way that I want. Now I'm going to click finish and have that as a filtered video. All right. So that is the Chrome extension in a nutshell. Screen recording and easy one-click YouTube filtering. I always love getting the reactions to that part. I'm seeing in the chat right away like, oh my gosh, no more falling victim to ads that pop up in my YouTube videos. Yep, it's literally just one click and it's going to pull it over for you. Any other YouTube videos that you find in EdPuzzle, by the way, are going to have that filter where there's no ads that are going to play in them. There's not going to be any pop-ups or banner ads or anything like that. All right. Now, before we look at EdPuzzle Originals, I have some ideas for screen recording here, and I'm going to answer a couple of the questions in the chat. All right. First, how did I get to whiteboard? Great question, Kayla. So how I got to that whiteboard feature is when I was on my screen recorder, which I can either click from the drop down of my Chrome extension here, or if you're in EdPuzzle, you can click Add New Video and go to Video that I'm going to screen record. It's kind of tucked away here. That whiteboard is available when you record your desktop. So once you click desktop and click start recording, you have the option for a whiteboard. Yeah, great that I went back through that because I know it's kind of tucked away in there. All right, another question. Can you add in recordings in the slides, or is it just written questions? Another great question. Currently, there is not the ability to add a video in the slide. However, what you can do, instead of adding a specific video, let's say I have a quiz, a video, and a slide that I want to assign. I could click a quiz, a video, and a slide and assign these in a single assignment stacked. That doesn't exactly embed it, but what it does do is kick my students off with a video that they're going to watch. Then they'll go into the slide and then a quiz. I can kind of stack assignments that way. Great question. All right. Now stepping back and stepping in to EdPuzzle Originals. So EdPuzzle Originals is a mix of a premium feature and a free feature. EdPuzzle Originals are made by our in-house curriculum team, and they are aligned to your Alabama state standards. The ones that I'm specifically going to show you today are the free ones. So, social studies teachers in the room, perk your ears up because these are aligned to Alabama social studies standards and are totally free for you to use. On your EdPuzzle homepage, if you click over on the left-hand sidebar, you see something that says EdPuzzle Originals. Again, EdPuzzle Originals are our in-house created by our curriculum team that align with pro standards. All right, I have 3 questions in here, direct message about the Chrome extension. So I'm going to pause real quick. If you want to explore this tab over here for EdPuzzle Originals, feel free. I'm going to answer my friends that are direct messaging me about Chrome extension. So to you guys who are wanting to add the Chrome extension, I do have a link in this slide deck on slide, let me find it for you, on slide 11 that says install Chrome extension, and it's going to link you directly to that extension, or you could just Google EdPuzzle Chrome extension. It's the very first thing that's going to pop up in Google, and when you add it to your extension sidebar, you're good to go. All right. So looking at those originals, if you are clicking around on that sidebar, you've likely noticed, for example, if I click into math, that these are going to be labeled as premium, meaning that they're an add-on available. So I'm going to show you a little life hack. There are some in every section that are totally free to use. Specifically, the ones that I am going to look at are social studies and holidays and major events. So let's look at social studies. You'll see that they are sorted into different tabs just to make sure you're not, digging through a huge library. I'm going to look at GeoMission videos right now. They'll be sorted again topically. So let's say specifically I am teaching on U.S. capitals. You'll see that these videos are fully available to be edited, but also already have questions embedded in them, already have links to the subject level and grade level where you can look at other related. They have imagery already ready and are totally ready to be assigned. Again, there are some hidden gems of non-premium content in every single one of those subject areas, but social studies and holidays and events are the 2 that you'll know are free to jump into. Like, for example, my Pi Day in here. There's always going to be some free stuff in here for you to try out. So if you are brand new to EdPuzzle and the idea of filtering through sounds daunting, or you just need something that you can be confident in and ready to go, this is a great place to start in looking for content. I also have some links in here. I have this slide hidden, so it's not one that we really need to chat about, but this is a link to some resources for you guys. You can always click on the EdPuzzle Originals page to look at standard alignment specifically for Alabama for every subject area. It'll also share a little bit about what EdPuzzle Originals are. And then I've included some other links in here specifically for financial literacy, those holidays and major events link, digital citizenship, and study skills. All right. Looks like we're good on the chat. So we are going to talk about Teacher Assist. Teacher Assist is one of my favorite features that we have. Oh, let's see. Got a question. Melinda, what if we wanted to pay for premium? Yep. So that premium content is totally available to add on if you want to. Up at the top of that link, you'll see that it had the place to request a quote. You can do that at any point, but again, totally available, free to click around. If you are interested in that, feel free to click request a quote, and what that's going to do is connect you directly to me. That's the fun thing about handling the whole state of Alabama. Other than private schools, I support all of you guys. So you can always click that and it'll connect you to me, or email me and we can chat some offline. All right. So Teacher Assist is EdPuzzle's AI teacher assistant. Teacher Assist is going to do two things for you. It is going to, one, allow you to automatically embed questions in a YouTube video, and two, it's going to let you, I just totally lost my train of thought, y'all. Whew. It's going to let you auto-grade open-ended questions. You can tell that I don't read off of slides because my brain goes all over. So, for example, let's go back to that animal adaptations video that we had. If I wanted to go through the full process of creating this video, I'm going to click that button exactly like I did. It's all scrubbed for me. It's all clean. Ads are gone. Data tracking is gone. All of that. Now, back in the olden days, when I was in the classroom, I would have to drag my little bar over, click on questions, add a multiple choice question, right? Type my question, type my answer choices. There is a button up at the top now when I'm pulling videos from YouTube that says generate questions. And what this is going to do is auto suggest questions for me. You see, this whole video, taking it from a YouTube video to an EdPuzzle lesson, took me about 3 clicks. I have questions in here with, when I look at them, their answer choices already added. My correct answer is already selected. It's totally editable. They're completely able to be deleted, but it gives me an awesome launching point. The nice thing about AI is it's never going to replace you in the classroom as the teacher, as the leader, but it is going to save you a whole lot of time to give you a launching point for these lessons. So this is going to give you somewhere to start instead of having to go in and build all of these from scratch. Now, some things to remember when using this Teacher Assist. We fully believe at EdPuzzle that AI should never replace a teacher, but it should be a help for you. So if I'm looking at a video within EdPuzzle, like let's say this Constitution Day video, notice that there's already questions in here. That's what this little bubble drop is going to be for you. So when I pull in this, let's say I go to edit and I try to click, oh no, I notice it's grayed out. The reason is for this is that a real teacher went and added these questions. We're not going to override whatever this real teacher has put in. Now, if I look through these and I say, oh my goodness, every single one of these specifically says Miss Johnson's class, that's not applicable for me. What I could do is I could go through them and I can delete all of them. And make this a nice clean video with no questions in it. Then I could use Teacher Assist. So just a reminder, Teacher Assist is not going to override ones with questions already embedded in them, but it'll give you a great launching point where you're coming from scratch. The other piece that Teacher Assist is going to do for you, I'm going to click out of my millions of tabs that I have open, is it's going to let you auto-grade answers that students have put in. So let's say, for example, I am looking at a lesson in my grade book that, let's see if I have any in here for you, that I have pending to grade. When I click into here, before I would have to go through each of those questions and grade them. If I have something like this right here, you can see Taylor Swift answered 10. This is available to, yes, click and grade. I can always click and edit. If I had multiple students here that needed to be graded, what I could do is type in my ideal answer. You'll see a place with multiple students, like you saw what I just did is went through and like manually clicked with one student. I can look at an overview of all of my students in my grade book. I would type in my ideal answer, say 10, say 25, or say fractions are pieces of a number with a numerator and denominator, whatever that answer may be. And Teacher Assist is going to look for matches for me. All right. Now, before we jump into another hidden gem, I'm going to pause and ask if we have any questions so far about Teacher Assist. I'm going to answer Emily's question here. So let's see. Emily uses Schoology. Yep, I know you're definitely not alone in there. Is there an EdPuzzle extension on Schoology? All right. Great question. They leave Schoology and log into EdPuzzle on another tab, class. Okay. So Emily, it sounds like this is something with specifically the integration. If you use Schoology as, or you use EdPuzzle through Schoology, which I'm sure lots of us in this room do, given that Alabama statewide Schoology is pretty popular, you're going to use EdPuzzle as an external tool, and we'll set it up with your secret code and key, which if you need to ever find those are in your profile. You have a place down here to set up Schoology, and it'll give you a consumer key. And what that's going to do is link them. The important thing, and this is where Schoology can be a little bit quirky, if I'm assigning through EdPuzzle to Schoology, it's going to mess up that integration a little bit. What you're going to want to do is assign in Schoology through the external tool. So Emily, if me explaining that to you, if you're like, Hannah, I have no idea what you said, I will drop the Schoology and EdPuzzle Help Center in here that has like a video walkthrough and can help with that full integration. Or if you're like, I just need someone to walk me through it, no worries, let me know and we can also chat offline. But here's the Help Center for you to kind of see how that works. Also, CJ, yep, I love how Teacher Assist is just that, an assistant. Okay, yep. If anyone uses something other than Schoology and needs the Help Center for the integration, let me know and I can get you that too. Okay, now to talk about live mode. If anyone in here has used live mode before, shout out to y'all for keeping the chat on fire. I love all this interactivity in here. Feel free to drop how you guys use live mode. If you've never heard of live mode before, it's exactly what it sounds like. Live mode is a way to use any EdPuzzle assignment, video, quiz, or slide, and do it live. Like, say that there's something that I've made for my students, maybe a video that I want to use whole group. I don't want them to watch it on their own computers. I want to do it with them. I can take an assignment that I have assigned, and I'm going to click onto it. Whoop. And when I click onto it, I'm going to see the options in here. Let's go to a graded assignment that I might have. I'm trying to find you guys a good lesson to look at. Like this, identify the base word. And I will see in my gradebook the option to go live. EdPuzzle is going to walk you through all of the steps of it. All you got to do is remember how to click to the go live. Everything else is going to pop up for you. And remember, you find the go live in the gradebook. You'll share your screen with your students. You'll tell them to open up EdPuzzle and click on this assignment, and it's going to pull them right in. Your screen will then be what you use to guide through this assignment. You're going to control the pace. This is kind of what live mode is going to look like for a student and for a teacher. For a student, it's going to tell them, hey, wait for your teacher or watch that video up on the teacher's screen. The video is going to show on your screen. And then when that video gets to a question, the teacher is going to pause while the student answers on their screen. You will then have the option to go through the responses. One of my favorite things about live mode is when I click show results on the screen, it's not going to say that Jimmy said that and Tim said that and John and Sarah said that. It's just going to show the answers. So my students aren't like, ugh, I am so wrong and that's so different than what everyone else said. But now if someone says something silly, I always reminded my third graders that in my grade book, I could see what Jimmy said. So watch yourself in the live mode. Don't be silly just because it's going up on the screen. If it's a multiple choice question, you'll be able to see accumulation of who is answering what. Some ideas for a live mode are there for you. Live mode is also available in a 360 video. So for those of us who this year are realizing, ooh, our field trip budgets are cut. I don't get to take my students all of the places I want them. For example, would love to take my students to Antarctica. I can use a live 360 in EdPuzzle where they can toggle around. So if you're looking for that, definitely feel free to search National Geographic 360. They're easy to find because they have the little 360 logo in them. So to show you what those look like, National Geo 360. When I find these videos, they're going to have the 360 in the side. So when I assign them to my students and when they're watching it, they can and interact with that video. These are really cool to do in a live mode to introduce them because I can toggle around and scroll on my screen and drag to show different things to my students, then could also assign it to them after so that they can interact with it. This is a super cool partnership between Nat Geo and EdPuzzle to be able to access those 360 videos. So feel free to just Google Nat Geo 360 and you'll see a bunch in here. Just make sure you look for the ones that do say 360 on them. Big fan of interactive field trips and virtual field trips personally, so I definitely recommend checking those out. All right, we are going to quickly run through student projects and accessibility supports, and I want to be real respectful of these last 15 minutes. So I'm going to hold questions to the end if y'all don't mind. If there's anything that is urgent or a question, feel free to pop it in. But I'm going to go ahead and jump in to student projects. So student projects are going to take EdPuzzle as you using as a teacher and flip it on its head, where your students have access to create, edit, and submit things to you. You may have noticed student projects in that Add New button. And what student projects are an assignment you're going to give to them where you allow them to either find a YouTube video. And now every time I say this, teachers are like, YouTube? No, I'm not sending my students to YouTube. Totally understand. As a clarification, when we click Find YouTube Video, it keeps them within EdPuzzle to this filtered view of YouTube. So as you look right there and see YouTube, that's what your students are going to be seeing on student projects if you allow Find YouTube Video. For an example, though, I'm going to click Record Yourself. And I'm going to use this very similar to how I would use if anyone used Flipgrid or Flip before they vanished from the scene. It's similar to that. Maybe I would assign something that says back to school. And I'm going to tell my students that I want them to introduce yourself and add 3 questions to your intro video. And then, oh, just checking. Can everyone still hear me? Is it Lorena's computer or did sound go out?
I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, Lorraine. Okay. And I'm going to add in instructions like record yourself and add a couple videos, save and assign to my students. And when they complete this project, they are going to do whatever I ask them to, record a video in this one, and they'll submit their video of themselves introducing themselves to me as a teacher, where I then have the capability, just like Flipgrid, where if my students are being silly, I'm going to keep that in my content and I'm not going to share it with anyone, or I can then send it out to my other students so that everyone can see each other introducing themselves. We can go through and answer questions about each other and have a really kind of interactive, flipped introduction for back to school. That's an example of a way you could use a student project, but obviously there are more academic examples, such as your students working through a math problem, recording an experiment, or a passion project like a TED Talk. Student projects are one of my favorite hidden gems in EdPuzzle. So if your school is passionate about PBL or flipped instruction in this way, student projects are a really great way with something like back to school to dip your toes into that and then get more in depth with your students and recording themselves or finding videos and doing research within EdPuzzle itself. All right. The last thing that we are going to talk about today specifically is one of the most important things, and that's accessibility supports within EdPuzzle. Within EdPuzzle, we've talked about some different things in our assignments, but we work really hard to make sure that virtual learning is as accessible to as many students as it can be. There are a couple features that are available in any option. The first is allowing audio questions. When I make a video, we're going to discard and go ahead back. Videos in and of themselves will pull this push and pull video about force here, can be really inaccessible to students with visual issues or hearing issues. There are some things in EdPuzzle that allow you to circumvent that as much as possible. The first is when I go to edit, I'm going to take these questions that are in here. Remember, questions or notes are those little bubbles along the stamp. This is a perfect example because as you can see here,
what are the two forces?
These have audio already put into them, where every single one of these are going to read aloud to my students. Great for emerging readers, great for students who need learning supports. If it didn't have these, when you click edit, you'll see anywhere you type in EdPuzzle, there's going to be a little microphone. That microphone allows you to record audio. Another option.
You use these two forces every single day. That's right.
I'm going to pause and add an open-ended question. I could add an open-ended question such as, how are you today? And I'm going to record myself asking, how are you today, for my students, and toggle on to allow audio responses. Maybe I teach a class where it's not appropriate for me to expect my class of students to type something out and tell me how they are today. When I toggle on allow audio responses, they can speak it back to me and tell me how they are today and answer that question. Once again, obviously this could be a more academic application, but a fun little application of audio responses and audio recordings that are available. Anytime you assign a lesson, you also have the option to allow multiple attempts. If it's something that you want a real grade on, you could assign it once. You can toggle that for other students if you wanted a second assignment just for specific students with multiple attempts, or you could always allow unlimited attempts. With videos, you have the option to toggle on or off a speed control, where students could slow that video down to allow them to watch it at a slower pace. You also have the option to turn on closed captioning for any video. If it's from YouTube, that closed captioning is going to be pulled right over from YouTube with it. Occasionally from YouTube videos, there's other languages available to closed caption as well. Multiple attempts is going to look just like this. When you click assign, you'll be able to classic things, toggle on prevent skipping and closed captions there, and allow multiple attempts. And in your assignments, you'll see any of those accessibility features right there for you. Last thing to mention, we likely all have students in our class that need content in different languages. One option is to pull over language or assignments that are in their native language directly from YouTube, such as finding a Spanish video that's teaching some similar concept as you are in your class, pulling it directly into EdPuzzle to assign to a student. Fun fact too, that Teacher Assist Chrome extension will create questions in whatever language the video is in. So say, for example, I pull an Arabic video for a newcomer that I have in my class. Teacher Assist can create questions in their native language. And Emily, great question and great follow-up. So for students with English as a second language, they can't say, for example, pull that animal adaptations video or this push and pull video and translate the whole thing, largely because the imagery on the video can't and because of YouTube terms and service. However, what you can do, like I said, is cover a video in their native language, or always play around with this country tab up top. And you'll notice with EdPuzzle being an international country or an international tool, fun fact, our headquarters are in. There are so many different languages and countries with native content for them there. All right. And as we wrap up, I promised I would leave you with a Q&A session. I also have a fun little resource that I want to leave you with. I am dropping in the chat a what is new page on EdPuzzle, but the thing that I specifically want to point out to you is on the second page, there is a coupon code down at the bottom. And what this coupon code is going to give you is 5 extra storage spaces to extend from that 20 limit storage that we have in EdPuzzle to 25, just to thank you for coming today, to give you a bit of extra storage and room to play around with EdPuzzle, or if you saved a couple videos before I reminded you of the free limit, to counteract that. If you are looking for where to put this in so that you don't have homework, you are going to go up to your plan up in the corner. And when you are in here, you will see a place. I think mine's going to be missing in here because I've already input it. Yep. But up in your plan in the corner, you will be able to go ahead and add in that storage space. I will also tell you guys, as the Alabama rep, if you have some friends that you want to share this with, no worries. It is not a single use just for you guys. Feel free to share this coupon code in this What's New with any of your friends who may need a bit more storage. All right. And as we wrap up, are there any questions that you guys have for me this evening? All right. We may have answered them as we went.
Yes, I know it's one question that you mentioned that you will go back to for the guy about, I forgot exactly what it was. It was one of the questions that you was going to go back to. I'm looking for it now. And I hope that person is still on.
I'm scrolling back up to.
Yeah.
I believe it was specifically Mr. Terry about his pro subscription on his school domain.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yep.
Stop this recording now.
Yep. About changing schools to. Oh, and thanks. Look, the people reminded me in the chat. Look at